Educators across Texas have spent their summer preparing for the upcoming school year, and that includes teachers in the 17 school districts right here in San Antonio. They've been finding creative ways to keep families engaged. All right, class is now in session, and reporter Jose Arredondo is our teacher because no one knows more about San Antonio than he does.
So right now we're headed to a mural that was done by Untitled Chapter, which is a nonprofit youth organization. So here it is,
Wow.
Educación mural.
Yes.
You know, organizations like Sananto, which we're going to see in a little bit, guide kids and put them in these programs that can show them, hey, this is a possible avenue for you.
Okay.
Whether it's college, arts,
Right.
you know, learning a trade, whatever. We're going to Sananto Cultural Arts, which is the organization that helped paint that mural that we were just at. And it's literally right here. Gigantic paleta. Like, you can't see it anywhere but the west side.
Look at this.
Let's let Nicole know what goes on here at Sananto.
We do community-based arts, teaching art classes for kids, murals. We kind of do it all here. Art is being removed from the school systems. Being able to be part of an organization that is giving art back to kids is paramount, in my opinion. That's our language.
All right, Jose, you're batting 1,000.
Woo!
Let's see what else you got.
Let's go, let's get it. Everything's pretty much walking distance, but we decided to drive because we need some AC. The 50th mural that Sananto has done.
Okay.
And it's on the Dollar Store, which is right across the street from Lanier High School.
Lanier High School.
It's everything about it is just so beautiful, the colors.
It's just so intricate, like all the details.
We got indigenous culture on here. To go back to the education part, you know, we got right here at the top, you know, at Lanier, people would get beat for talking in Spanish. And, you know, a lot of people, it traumatized them. So whenever they had kids, they would give them, you know, American names, white names.
It also deny them a piece of their culture.
Yes, this is the gigantic history book.
That becomes their art lesson, their culture lesson, you know, and something that brings us together that is positive.
Yes.
Everybody across the great state of Texas can get behind that. This fall, teachers are addressing learning loss, getting students from the west side to the south side back on track. I know you spoke with a lot of students who are getting ready to return to the classroom. You also spoke with several teachers to see how they're feeling about going back.
Yeah, I spoke to Gemma Hernandez. She teaches at Lanier High School, which is on San Antonio's west side. She's taught there for over 15 years. She's a woman who's embraced the community, and you can see on my chest I have 78207. That's the zip code that the school sits in. It's one of the most economically disadvantaged zip codes. A lot of the kids, you know, they grow up in public housing. A lot of them grow up without a lot of resources, and the pandemic really exploited that. It exposed it. It shined a huge light on the lack of resources that they have in this community. Xavier Thea's junior year of high school was one for the history books.
And I would only have 3 classmates in there with me. Everybody else would be online. I wouldn't really know anybody, know how they looked besides the people in class. I didn't even know how some of my teachers looked until the end of the year.
His senior year is going to be somewhat of a normal one.
Hi.
Hi.
And no one's more excited than Miss
Yes. So what are we working on?
Gemma Hernandez, who teaches yearbook and Photoshop at Lanier High School on San Antonio's west side.
I miss my students interacting inside the classroom, but this one is totally quiet. Everyone is calm, and I'm so excited to teach, but my students are, they're just quiet.
Gemma teaches in a barrio where over 95% of the students are economically disadvantaged.
Okay, I want you to turn on the camera.
So Lanier High School and other high schools in San Antonio ISD recently participated in a 2-week summer program called Jump Start, which aims to help students transition from remote learning to in-person learning at full capacity.
They have a very tough life, but guess what? They have teachers who are willing to serve them, to make a difference, and to be with them. You look like a professional photographer now. Amazing. High five. Woohoo!
At the end of every school year, Gemma grabs her camera, her green screen, and offers free senior portraits to her students who can't afford them. An impact that not even a syllabus can describe.
This is the heart of the West Side, right? And I've been teaching here for 14 or 15 years. The teachers needs to be passionate, set it as an example, make a difference in this class. At the end of the day, it's not a question, what have they learned?
Every Texas teacher has been on their own unique journey through the pandemic. So we visited San Antonio's Southside High School and asked a group of teachers, leaders, and bus drivers to share their stories. This conversation was recorded before the recent rise in COVID hospitalizations.
I've seen like the happiest kids turn into the most saddest kids because they don't have their normal schedule. They don't have the hugs from teachers. I am a very lovey teacher where I just want to hug everybody, and I had to remind myself, you're not allowed to hug. We need to stay that social distance. It's for their own good. We don't want to get them any health problems or anything.
What was it like to have to pivot? I mean, we went away on spring break and just some of us didn't come back.
It was an okay transition, but was I still giving everything that those kids needed? Absolutely not.
It's always a challenge, I think, to balance between giving them the most and then also having a family at home.
My name is Brittany Vincent. I've been a teacher for 6 years. I teach 5th grade here at Southside ISD at Pierce Elementary. I don't know, I always think like, yes, I'm a teacher, but for me, I feel like I'm in the business of creating relationships. That's a really, really important part of teaching. I have 2 small children. My 5-year-old is busy with sports. My husband is a coach here as well at Southside. One of the biggest challenges was our son started pre-K here at Southside, and that was really at the height of the pandemic when we were going back face to face. We knew that the district was taking every safety measure and precaution, and so it really made us feel better too about sending him to school.
You make it work. It always seems to somehow work out, and I think it's, you know, when you have a good family at home that can help you balance and take on some of the other things that need to happen at home so that you can give the time to your students, and then just knowing when you need a break.
It was hard. It was very difficult.
What was the hardest part?
The hardest part was setting that boundary and making sure that you're not overworking yourself, because Sunday night, you're still working, and then Monday morning you go back to work. All week long you're working again. Still Saturday, Sunday, you're doing things that are behind the scenes that people don't see.
And I can see you're getting a little emotional. Where is that coming from? What are you thinking about inside?
For me, it's my son. Feeling like I'm not spending enough time with him.
We can relate.
My name is Miss Garza. I teach 2nd grade. I did virtual just about all school year long, so that was different. One of the challenges was knowing how to go from work and then going home. At home, I really just like watching TV, spend time with with Ethan. Ethan is, I would say, very responsible. He's not really one to want to take off his mask and, play around. It was very different, especially at the beginning of the school year. He was doing only virtual. He was having a really, really hard time with virtual. Once he was in school, he started doing so much better.
I just want to get up and give you a hug because I know, there is never an off switch for us.
It's that balancing act, right, that we never feel like we quite master. Even being a leader, and there's even more expectation. Do you ever feel that stress, the weight of all of that, the balancing act?
As educators, we're working in the evenings, we're working over the weekends, we're working over the summers. And so even more so this past year blurred those lines for a lot of educators.
Deep down as educators, we want to do everything we can for our kids and for our teachers. So we didn't look at expense, or we didn't look at anything that would hold us back from making sure that our teachers and our kids have what they need to, and trying to tackle this new experience.
Were there things that kept you up at night?
Yes, we would get daily reports of either our staff, students getting sick. At that time, when we were at the middle of the pandemic, it was very, very challenging, and we still have to do our jobs.
Miss Gloria, I'd love to hear from you because I'll just be honest, as a student, some of my favorite people was the cafeteria lady and my bus driver, because I was gonna see them every day. I was gonna get that smile from them every day. Tell me about your experience with children and why you do what you do. You could be doing anything.
I never dreamed that this is what I was gonna do. My youngest started school, and I thought, well, what a perfect place to go and work.
My name is Gloria Arocha. I'm a dispatcher for Southside ISD, and I also drive a bus as needed. As adults and drivers, it wasn't as hard. What was hard is trying to get the kids to abide by, the mandatory things that we had from last year. Eventually, they got used to it. So the first few times, it was kind of like, oh, I forgot my mask. So, oh, the sanitizer stinks. So, but it just took a little time. But I think that was the most challenging in the beginning, was getting the kids to follow the protocols. My husband and I, my grandkids and my children, we all have RVs, and we find a place to go and have a good time on the weekend. The girls are educators, so they're off for the summer, so we do those kind of things.
I think when the mornings when you see that child and you say good morning and you give them a smile, and they could be crying, they could be mad, you can make a difference for the rest of the day.
I know I'm super excited about getting our babies back into school because I'm ready. Mask or not, I just need them back into class so we can start doing the things we need to do to close the learning gaps that we've had.
Next, we head to Dallas to talk to North Texas moms.
We gave up on school pretty early on.